I don't know if you heard the story about Tammy Cohen.
I haven't.
Okay.
You can explain it.
I'm explaining the story. Tammy Cohen is now the executive producer of the BMF show, the BMF STARZ show. She has Meech rights. I was doing this show, so when T was locked up, T asked me to call her. I blindly called her. And she just immediately went off on me. Like, what the hell? You know, I'm on probation. By this time, it's like 2014, 13, 14. And the next day after that conversation, I get called down to my probation officer. I'm looking at my young son because this has never happened to me. I've been on probation a couple of years now, like, what's going on? So I told my youngest son, when I called him, I said, hey, come over here. I got to, my probation officer called me. I got to go turn myself in. Not turn myself in. I said, I got to go see her. And he said, what's going on? I said, I don't know. She told me she's giving me an hour to get there. I get down to my probation officer, my son in the car. I said, if I don't come out in a couple of hours, call the lawyer. I get in there, Tammy Cohen is a government informant. So she says, my probation officer is sitting there and some other guy. I can't remember his name, but I just knew he was part of the DEA. And he come in, I go in, I'm like, fuck. You know, this is everybody's nightmare. I already did my time. Only thing I wanted to come home and do is take care of myself, take care of my family, make amends for my mother, redeem myself through, the world, or anybody that I felt like I affected. So they told me, and he says, you know what this is about? And I said, no. He said, well, you threatened a government informant, and that's a federal offense, and it's a violation of your probation. And I said, well, who did I threaten? I don't know what you're talking about. So he go over the story, and I'm sitting there, and I'm telling you, I've heard of people killing themselves not to go back to prison. I went to prison, man. I went to prison. When I say I came home, and all these people were going at my head, all these people I helped, all these people, I'm a mother. I was somebody's daughter. I lost my father, lost my mother. I was somebody's daughter. And here you are. You didn't put in no work. No work. All you did is start writing a man. And this man befriended you, gave you his life rights. And just because you've been a government informant since 2008, you have the right to tell them that I threatened you. I went on, they told me that they were gonna arrest me. They were gonna charge me. I'm in there, I'm hyperventilating. I'm in this little room with, they shut the door. It's no knob on this side because if you wanted to run, you couldn't get out. They're talking to me. I'm had to, I'm like, I'm just like fear. Fear had set through my body. I couldn't I'm going to prison. This woman is finished to take my life away from me. Take my whole life. I did my time. Out of them 200 people, none of them said I'm on their paperwork. I did my time. I came home broke. I lost everything I had before I even went to prison, even before I met these two, Terry and his brother. So everything I had, everything I gained, I lost. It's okay because of my lifestyle. But who would give a person the right to tell another person to lock me back up because I came home to figure out another way to make money? This been hunting me for years. So eventually this stayed over my head for about a year. My father had stage 4 cancer. I thought I wasn't going, they told me I couldn't go home to visit him. Eventually, the case went away because they put it under investigation. She couldn't prove what I did. Prove that I threatened her. And then after that, she did interviews about me. Like her and Sauce was going at my head. For what reason? I don't even know y'all. Have done multiple interviews about me. Talking about who I am. Like, no, who are you? So I thought that when we were coming here, I know like Blue, and they had this big thing on Instagram and going, that conversation was about her. Yes, she's a government informant. Yes, she's been a government informant since 2008. Yes, she tried to get me locked back up. But for my attorney and my probation officer, they didn't lock me back up. But can you imagine the fear that my son had, my mother had, and my dying father had? Because anytime you're in prison, you always think, I just want to make it home to my parents because my parents were older. Just want to make it home to my parents so I can make it right. But for somebody to take your freedom, because I vowed while I was sitting in prison that I vowed to be forgiving to anybody that I hurt, anybody that, got hurt in anything that I was doing. I vowed to give back. That's why I started Silent Heart, give back to the community, help the community. I vowed to help people in who's locked up, for these unjust laws. I've helped people come home from prison. I helped 3 people come home from prison, working in prison reform. So when a person, just because you have that right, because you making money from the government, it ain't like me or like any other woman. I was in prison with 600 women at a time. I've heard multiple stories. I don't blame those women who got caught up and might have had to take the stand and tell and get a little time so they can run home to get to their kids. But when you have a woman that's like dirtball, piece of shit ass woman that sits there and make money from the government and say, oh, because I'm a government informant, I could take your fucking freedom away from you. Prison is like almost death. You can't go no farther down. It's prison, then it's dying, or it's dying and then in prison. So when you do this kind of thing, you fuck up people's life. So when I had this show, here I go again, trying to help everybody around me. This happened. I had to walk away from that. I walked away from that. I had to walk away. My probation officer said, we're going to make a deal with you. We're going to investigate this, but you're going to have to walk away from anything that you got going on with them. So I walked away from, that was a way for me to take care of myself when I came home from prison. Struggle for years. Here it come before the BMF show come. Everybody going at my head. Tammy Cohen again started doing these interviews. I get a book deal. Here they come with this whole story again. What is this? What is this? Why is this woman? I want to know. I want you to put this piece in this because I really want to know. I want her to face me. I want her to face the world like when she put out these interviews for me. I want her to feel like she made me feel when I had to almost go back to prison. I want to know, why did you do that? What could I didn't even know who she was. I used to look her up because when you're a government informant, you don't have no identity. You don't have a Facebook, you don't have an Instagram, you don't have LinkedIn, you don't have anything. And I was asking people, who is this person? Who is this person? When they did the BMF STARZ premiere, I was on Instagram and I seen her for the first time. Nobody had to tell me. I looked at her and I knew it was her. All these people from BMF and everybody, they just all hugged up with this person. Do you know how that make me feel? Like, this is a government informant. I'm y'all 30-something year friend. I don't even have to be a friend. I should have been somebody you respect. You don't have to love me. You don't have to like me. But I don't know nobody that I will put in prison. Nobody. I don't even hate nobody that bad. And then you guys sit around and y'all argue with Blue about who he is or what he did to anybody else, and y'all upholding this piece of shit ass woman, holding her up like she's somebody. So people ought to know that when you going around certain people, you need to realize who you standing next to, who you're getting involved, because really the street code is that we don't do this. We don't do government informants. We don't do rats.